Welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the House Speaker vote once again. And just minutes ago, the House of Representatives wrapped up their vote for the next Speaker of the House, and it was very interesting to say the least. And no one reached 217 votes, which means that we do not have a Speaker. There was no speaker elected. The top two candidates were Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat. All 212 Democrats voted for Hakeem Jeffries. He is just 5 votes away from victory. But all the Republicans were split between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candidates, with the top Republican being Jim Jordan, who is really the only one who was voted for that was actually running. Steve Scalise, Kevin McCarthy, Lee Zeldin, Tom Emmer, Mike Garcia, Tom Colt, and Thomas Massie, none of them are actually running for Speaker. Jim Jordan is the only one who's actively running for Speaker, trying to get these critical votes from his colleagues, and he is unsuccessful, as it appears. He only received 200 votes when he needs 217, so that means that 17 Republicans voted against him. If we go back to January on the first ballot, I believe 19 Republicans voted for Kevin McCarthy. So Jim Jordan is in a similar position that Kevin McCarthy was in back in January. In second was Steve Scalise, who just a week ago was the leading contender for House Speaker. The Republicans held a closed-door meeting, and Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise were running against each other, for these Republican votes to become Speaker. Basically, the House Republican caucus would endorse someone. Steve Scalise won the vote. He was endorsed, but he ended up dropping out because he knew that he still did not have the votes, even though he was endorsed. But anyway, he's not actively running, but these anti-Jordan Republicans, 7 of them, voted for Steve Scalise. That's third place candidate. Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House, was voted out after Matt Gaetz, created the motion to vacate the chair. Kevin McCarthy received 6 votes, probably expected. He is number 4 again. Just anti-Jordan Republicans, just needing someone to vote for. I'll note that both Steve Scalise and Kevin McCarthy voted for Jim Jordan. In 5th place was Lee Zeldin, someone who is not even a congressperson. This might be the only time in American history that, probably not actually now that I think of it, but maybe the only time in American history that a non-congressperson was voted for. Never mind, what am I talking about? Matt Gaetz voted for Donald Trump back in January. Never mind. But Lee Zeldin is not a congressman. He's not in the House right now. He used to be, but he retired last year to run for governor of New York. He lost that race. But 3 congresspeople voted for Lee Zeldin. You can see New York Times doesn't even have his picture. This was very unexpected. Again, just anti-Jordan Republicans. 3 from New York. I know it was D'Esposito. We'll get to the votes, but D'Esposito, Gabarino, and someone else. I don't know. But Lee Zeldin placed 5th. And then Tom Emmer, Mike Garcia, Tom Cole, and Thomas Massie all received 1 vote each from Republicans. Emmer and Cole are high-ranking in the House Republican caucus. Mike Garcia, big surprise, wasn't expecting that, pretty random. And then Thomas Massie, not much of a surprise that he received 1 vote. Victoria Sparks of Indiana just needed someone to vote for. She's very libertarian, just like Thomas Massie. She voted for Thomas Massie. So no one won this vote. Now let's go to how each candidate, how each representative voted for. So Don Bacon voted for Kevin McCarthy, as expected. Gus voted for no one. Ken Buck voted for Tom Emmer. He was the one that voted for Tom Emmer. Lori Chavez DeRemer voted for Kevin McCarthy. She was undecided on this, right before the vote. And she ended up voting for Kevin McCarthy. Unexpected in my book. I was expecting her to vote for Jim Jordan. Anthony D'Esposito. Always for others. Others is just Lee Zeldin and Thomas Massey. I figured out the people with no photos up there. But D'Esposito voted for Lee Zeldin. And then we have a couple Florida representatives. That's Steve Scalise. Lots of Florida representatives voted against Jordan. This is, who is that other? Because I don't think he voted for Lee Zeldin. I guess he voted for Lee Zeldin. I don't really know on Jake Elzy. Oh, he did vote for Zeldin. Yeah, Garbarino voted for Lee Zeldin. Mike Garcia, who got a vote, voted for Jim Jordan. Gimenez voted for Kevin McCarthy. He says he's okay, only Kevin. And then Tony Gonzalez of Texas 23rd District voted for Steve Scalise. That was a big surprise. So, basically, I mean, not basically, just in reality, Jordan did worse than expected. He should have gotten over 200 votes. He should have done a lot better than Kevin McCarthy, and he only did a little better, Kevin McCarthy, on the first ballot. I mean, obviously he did better than Kevin McCarthy right now. But he did a lot worse. There are a good chunk of representatives, such as, where is he? The guy, Tony Gonzalez. Kay Granger is another big one from Texas, 12th. Big group of House Republicans who very unexpectedly did not vote for Jim Jordan. They were not on the radar, to be frank, and they voted. Both Granger and Gonzalez voted for Steve Scalise. John James, another one who was not on the radar, a freshman in Congress, not expected to make any big moves, but he voted for Tom Cole. He was the lone representative to vote for Tom Cole. That was another one off the radar. Mike Kelly was one off the radar. He voted for Steve Scalise. Jen Kiggins was off the radar. She voted for Kevin McCarthy. Nicola Loda from New York voted for Lee Zeldin. He, again, not much of a radar. LaMalfa was supposed to vote for Kevin McCarthy. And then Mike Lawler. I was shocked, when I was watching this live, because Mike Lawler of New York said yesterday that he was going to vote for Jim Jordan on the first ballot. And then he comes, today, he votes for Kevin McCarthy. Big surprise from Mike Lawler. He was not supposed to be on the radar. Mike Simpson voting for Scalise. That was off the radar. Victoria Spartz. Today and last night there started to be questions surrounding who she would vote for. She voted for Thomas Massey. And then this one was expected. Steve Womack from Arkansas. He was expected to vote for someone else, not Jim Jordan. So, takeaway. Lots of unexpected anti-Jordan votes. And the question is, can Jordan recover? At least Kevin McCarthy, when he had his first ballot in January, there was expected to be about 20 Republicans to vote against him. But this time around, Jordan not doing as well as expected. So the question is, what am I saying? Like, will Jordan do better on the second ballot, right? Because there's a lot of dynamics to this. Dynamics is a great word for this. Because looking back at January, we always have to compare January to now because it is the same Congress people. Jordan's 200 compared to McCarthy's about 200 on the first ballot. Which is more loyal? I think that Kevin McCarthy's group of voters, I think that the McCarthy voters in January are more, quote unquote, only Kevin, okay, than the Jordan voters are only Jordan, right? I think that the McCarthy voters were more dedicated to Kevin McCarthy than the Jordan voters are to Jordan. So basically, overall, I think that the Jordan voters will be more likely to peel away from Jim Jordan than the McCarthy voters. And what do we know? Kevin McCarthy stuck in there. Can Jim Jordan stick in there? That's the question. And I think the second ballot is going to be so critical because we'll see if Jim Jordan's vote goes up or down. It could go both ways. Because we could see a few of these Congress people switch to Jim Jordan, in hopes, seeing that he has 200 votes now, a solid number, saying that he's so close, 17 away, they could switch to Jim Jordan. Or it could go the other way when you look at it. 17 votes is kind of a lot because people could look at it like that and they could see Tom Emmer, Tom Cole, as a way out. I mean, Lee Zeldin, that would be pretty cool if Lee Zeldin got a lot of votes because Lee Zeldin is a pretty cool guy. Anyway, that's off topic. So the second ballot will be so critical in this whole process, and it could really decide whether or not Jim Jordan stays in the race or drops out. I mean, this is like kind of breaking news, but some Congress people or insiders are saying that Jim Jordan does plan to stick around at least for the second ballot, and then we'll see from there. Additionally, I made these really cool graphics for the vote. CNN did not make this. I know you're shocked that CNN didn't make this. I made this. I will be posting these, as each ballot goes on my community page. I already did one for this vote. So this was the vote. Jeff Weiss 212 winning, Jim Jordan 200, Steve Scalise at 7, Kevin McCarthy at 6, Lee Zeldin at 3, Mike Garcia 1, Thomas Massie 1, Tom Emmer 1, Tom Cole 1. So, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Very interesting vote thingy playing out on Capitol Hill. We will see where this goes. Thanks again. I'll see you all later.